Hey, you're watching Airspace Media's press coverage at When We Were Young, sponsored by All That Raz. For emo t-shirts, stickers, and other goodies, make sure to check them out. I'll have a link in the description. And now, let's get to another interview at When We Were Young. We're with Brian of Bad Religion at When We Were Young. How's it been going so far?
Who doesn't love a little emo? I know I do.
I'll say this. As you know, a legendary punk band like Bad Religion, you've sort of seen the whole evolution of all of these bands. You've inspired all of these bands, you know, even doing Warped Tour from the 90s into the 2000s. You even saw that transition from more of the heavier punk stuff at Warped Tour into Warped Tour becoming more of a emo and pop punk friendly tour. So what's the biggest thing that you've noticed and the biggest difference from back then to now?
Well, I think a main thing is that back then, no one knew what a chorus was. It was just the name of the song, and you would say it in the song. But starting in like the early 2000s, people knew that the chorus was the part that you sing along to. And that brings us to this festival where it's nothing but choruses that you can sing along to. Sort of an emo hallmark.
Yeah. So how do you feel as, you know, being one of those legendary punk bands about sort of the emo genre as well? Because I know that, and I remember back then, emo was sort of like a dirty word back then. Now, not so much.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned that. You know who coined the phrase emo? Me. I made it up. I made it up in 1985. I was at a Rites of Spring show. And I was playing the show in my band Dag Nasty. It was Dag Nasty, Rites of Spring, and Embrace. In October, we might be on the 25th anniversary of coming up with the term emo. And Rites of Spring were putting together their set list, which they were painting on a bed sheet to hang behind the drum riser. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, emo core? And that's the genesis of the term emo. And I didn't take credit for it. It was like a couple of years later, and a friend of mine was like, you know, you made up that term, right? I'm like, what are you talking about? I was just making fun of Rites of Spring. And he goes, exactly. So from that, I'd like to say that we've all grown. I now go on vacation with Rites of Spring guys. We buried the hatchet. And no, I mean, look, everything's precious when it's right in the beginning and new. Mm-hmm. And punk is really precious, and you don't want anyone, you know, it's like the definition of gatekeeping, and everybody's a teenager, so it's that way. But then you grow up and you realize good songs are good songs, and people are cool or they aren't. And that's just how it works. So there's no reason the categorizing or labeling it is totally unnecessary.
As a Canadian, I do want to know.
That I knew you were Canadian from the way you talk?
Yeah, probably.
Yes, I did.
Okay, I did. You heard the Tim Hortons in there?
There's a tiny bit of roundness that comes in, just a little bit.
What is your favorite part about playing shows in Canada?
Oh, God. I've been playing Canada since 1981. Dude, it is just... it's like everything I like about the U.S. and nothing I don't like. Because it's got the familiarity, but it's also kind of doesn't have the fascism to as much of a degree. You know, I mean, everything, you know, I understand it. I don't know. I've just been fortunate to have been going there for so long and making so many great friends there that it's like, I don't know, it's a second home to me, but it still has this distinctly outer feeling in the greatest way. I mean, that's all I can say. It's like, I'm actually touring Canada in January and February 2026 with The Offspring. Back again.
Yeah, and we'll see you there for sure. What else does Bad Religion have coming up that you may want to talk about at this point?
I really think we're past the time of having to prove ourselves.
Mm-hmm. It's not more so that. It's definitely you have nothing to prove. It's now, do you get to the point where, hey, I still want to continue putting out new music? Or is it just sort of like, hey, I've got this massive catalog of hits. Do I just want to play the hits?
No, I was kind of playing.
Yeah.
We have been working on a record for a long time. The problem is that things get even more chaotic like every month, at least in our home country. And so you're like, okay, well, this batch of songs is great, but now I'm extra concerned about something even more horrifying. So maybe we need to flesh this idea out more. And we do have the luxury. The one thing we do have is we have the luxury of we don't have to put out records to tour. But the point is when you put out a record, it has to be good.
It has to make an
You
impact.
can't have a bad record. You can't be relevant. So it's taken us a couple of years, and we're working on it, and it'll be out when it's good, and not before then.
It sounds like it's kind of harder to be putting out a record later on in your career with that massive back catalog because there's more, I guess, scrutiny towards anything you put out at this point. Would that be correct?
I think so, but also you just have an obligation to respect the source material, and it's not like there's any trepidation where you're like, well, we could fuck this whole thing up by putting out a bad record. It's just that it's not fun to make a record that's not inspiring. If it's not inspiring to you, then why are you doing it? So, I'm just happy to be here.
Is there a band that you're particularly really proud to have seen come this far that's on the set for this year's When We Were Young?
I'm really glad Weezer finally made it. It's been a struggle for them.
Yeah, that Pinkerton really set the back.
Well, the lack of hooks and great songs has been a problem, but I think over the years they finally got the formula down. I can't think of a specific. I haven't been a mentor really to anybody that I've seen on the list. But to be fair, I don't really know who's playing besides the Gaslight Anthem because they're parked right next to us, and I live in New Jersey and they're from New Jersey, so.
They're one of my favorite bands, so definitely a good one to be shouting out right now. But thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure.
Bad Religion playing at When We Were Young all weekend long. Thank you so much again. It was great meeting you.
Great. Nice to meet you.